Welcome to this step-by-step explainer. If you've been looking for an agricultural venture that combines, really low initial production costs with a literally off-the-charts feed-to-meat conversion ratio, you are in the exact right place. We're talking about pig farming. Unlike other large livestock, pigs adapt easily to just about any environment. They possess incredibly high disease resistance, and honestly, they produce way more meat per kilogram of feed than cattle, goats, or sheep. So today, we're breaking down the exact steps you need to take to build a profitable setup right from scratch. Consider this your ultimate small pig farm setup checklist. We're going to cover planning your pig farm, building pens and housing, selecting your first pigs, a feeding and watering guide, and finally, preventing disease and sickness. All right, let's jump right in. Section 1. Planning your pig farm. Groundwork and space. Okay, so here are the 4 absolute fundamental micro steps you've got to check off before making any purchase. Notice that step 1 isn't buy a pig. It's actually start with at least 2. They're highly social animals, and we'll dig into that a bit more shortly. You're also going to need a secure perimeter, a dedicated sleeping area, and honestly, this is probably the most overlooked step for beginners, a rock-solid concrete plan for managing the compost and dung. When we talk about space, 50 is the magic number to keep in mind. As a general rule of thumb, you need 50 square feet of basic accommodation per pig. Now, I know that might sound kind of small to some of you, but pigs aren't exactly marathon runners, right? Their preferred daily itinerary is mostly just sleeping, eating, and rooting around in the dirt. So the really crucial point here is that if you're starting small, which by the way, we highly recommend, an 8 by 16 foot pen provides the perfect concrete benchmark. This pen size, optimally twice as long as it is wide, gives 2 feeder pigs plenty of room to stretch their legs and get comfortable. Moving on to section 2, building pens and housing, essential infrastructure. Let's look at the actual physical requirements of your setup. Your fences absolutely need to be secure and at least 3 feet high to safely hold your pigs, especially since they grow so incredibly fast. Galvanized mesh panels work wonderfully here, though a sturdy wood setup or an electric wire positioned a few inches from the fence line will totally do the trick too. And crucially, when you're laying all this out, make sure to pick an area of your land that naturally avoids flooding during the rainy season. That's a huge deal. Now, here is a critical agricultural concept you absolutely need to grasp: the thermoneutral zone. Because pigs actually can't sweat, they rely entirely on their environment to regulate their body heat. So this zone is essentially their optimal temperature's sweet spot. If they're stuck shivering in the cold, they're just eating more to stay warm. That means they're basically wasting valuable feed energy on body heat instead of actually growing to market weight. So how exactly do we keep them in that thermoneutral zone? Well, you build for it. You need to provide 15 to 20 square feet of shade from the hot sun, dry sanitary bedding, and really excellent ventilation. That clears out the ammonia and moisture, but you have to do it without creating cold drafts. Insulating your roof and walls is also a massive help in preventing those wild, uncontrolled temperature swings. Section 3. Selecting your first pigs, sourcing and breeds. Remember how I mentioned earlier that you should never start with just one pig? Well, this golden rule is absolutely key. Begin with a boar and 2 gilts, or even just 2 or 3 really healthy feeder pigs. Keeping a small group allows them to thrive socially. Plus, it allows you as a beginner to easily monitor their health and ensure they're all getting adequate nutrition without you getting totally overwhelmed. You really do have a variety of fantastic beginner options when it comes to breeds. Now, selecting individual, healthy animals from a disease-free herd is definitely your top priority, but these breeds give you some great baselines. The Duroc, for instance, is highly renowned for being one of the absolute hardiest and fastest-growing breeds you can choose. It's an incredible candidate if you're looking for a really fast return on your initial investment. Which brings us to Section 4, Feeding and Watering Guide, Daily Operations. This number is completely non-negotiable for growing feeder pigs, 24. They need 24-hour access to food and water. You see, limiting feed just isn't a useful tool if you want them to reach their full genetic potential efficiently. Using a self-feeder that allows them free choice to eat whenever they want throughout the day drastically improves their performance compared to just sticking to scheduled feedings. And what exactly is going into that self-feeder? Well, while grass-fed always sounds nice in theory, grass alone totally lacks the energy and protein pigs actually need. You need a nutritionally balanced grain mix. At least 50% of this mix should be yellow corn. It's a great economical energy source alongside high protein and lysine. But definitely don't stop at just grain. You want to supplement their diet with colorful root vegetables like carrots and potatoes, and leafy greens like spinach. They absolutely love sweet, colorful produce, and it's just packed with the vitamins they need to thrive. And just as important as the food is the water. A growing pig using a nipple drinker in hot conditions can consume upwards of 1.5 gallons of water per day. That's a lot. You must ensure that clean, cool, and high-quality water is continuously available to them around the clock. Let's take a look at the timeline to really see how this builds up. If you get the housing right and you provide that 24-hour balanced diet we just talked about, your pigs will go from a tiny birth weight of just 4 pounds to a staggering 280 to 300-pound market weight in right around 6 months. No joke. That is the sheer power of a pig's feed-to-meat conversion ratio in action. Finally, Section 5, Preventing Disease and Sickness, Health and Maintenance. How do I know if my pig is healthy? It's honestly the most vital question a beginner can ask. Yes, pigs are famous for having high disease resistance, but if you don't know what a perfectly healthy animal actually looks like, you just won't be able to spot trouble until it's way too late. Notice the stark contrast here. A healthy pig is active, they're eating constantly, and they have bright, open eyes with nice, healthy pink eyelids. On the flip side, if you see lethargy, excessive shivering, coughing, hair loss, or maybe dull, cloudy eyes with redness and discharge, you've got a problem. Those are major warning signs that require immediate action. To prevent those sick symptoms from ever showing up in the first place, make sure to check off these final preventative measures. Keep your pens clean and dry to cut down on airborne bacteria. Rotate your pastures to disrupt the life cycles of host-specific diseases. Make sure to isolate any new animals immediately before you introduce them to your main herd. And above all else, hire a reliable livestock veterinarian. Even though pigs hardly get sick, a really good vet is your absolute first line of defense for vaccinations and long-term health planning. So, we've covered the complete journey. You now have the ultimate setup checklist, the exact 8x16 pen dimensions, the 50% yellow corn diet, and the crucial biosecurity rules. The entire blueprint is right here in this explainer. So I'll leave you with this thought. Knowing how incredibly fast these animals can grow and the relatively low barrier to entry to get started, what is the very first step you're going to take on your own farm tomorrow?